You're crouched inside a small stone hut in the Pamir Mountains. It's 500 BC. Outside, the wind is brutal. Inside, hot stones glow in a wooden brazier, and a thick, sharp-smelling smoke fills the tiny room. There's no lighter. There's no rolling paper. There's definitely no guy at a festival asking if you have one. You're here for a funeral. And as the smoke rises off those stones, someone nearby breathes it in and thinks, wait, this isn't just for the dead. This is for me too. This is the story of when humans first got high on weed, not Woodstock, not Cheech and Chong, not your college roommate with the lava lamp. We're talking about a relationship between humans and cannabis that goes back further than farming itself. Here's the big claim. Cannabis use might not have started with agriculture at all. Most people assume humans domesticated cannabis first, then stumbled onto the fact that it got them high. Reject that. The timeline may actually run in reverse, and the evidence behind it is genuinely wild. Let's start with the plant itself. Cannabis didn't evolve near modern humans. It evolved on the Tibetan Plateau roughly 28 million years ago, according to pollen studies. By the time humans were spreading across Central Asia, wild cannabis was already growing everywhere they walked. It wasn't rare. It wasn't hidden in some distant jungle. It was already in the backyard. Every group passing through that stretch of Asia would have brushed past it, burned it, breathed it. That contact wasn't occasional. It was constant. So why would smoke from a random plant do anything to the human brain? Here's the twist. Humans carry an endocannabinoid system, receptors called CB1 and CB2, that regulate mood, memory, and appetite. These receptors didn't evolve because of cannabis. They evolved for the body's own internal signaling first, but when THC arrives, it fits that lock almost perfectly. Picture one person sitting too close to a burning wild cannabis plant. No ritual, no plan, just smoke drifting the wrong way, and a feeling nobody had a word for yet. Now, the hard proof. In 2019, researchers testing wooden braziers from the Jerzankal Cemetery in the Pamir Mountains found scorched stones coated in cannabis residue with unusually high THC content dated to roughly 500 BC. But does missing older evidence mean it didn't happen earlier? Not necessarily. Plant material rots, smoke and seeds leave almost nothing behind after a few centuries underground. Here's where it gets interesting. Herodotus, writing in the 5th century BC, described Scythians sitting inside smoke tents, throwing hemp seeds onto heated stones, and howling with pleasure. For centuries, historians assumed he was exaggerating. Then, archaeologists uncovered bronze braziers and hemp residue in Scythian burial mounds, matching his account almost exactly. Now, shift continents. In Neolithic China, archaeologists have found hemp seed impressions in ancient pottery, alongside early medical texts describing cannabis treatments. Same plant, completely different context. In the steppe, it was ritual and grief. In China, it leaned medicinal and practical. Here's the number that should raise your eyebrows. Genetic studies suggest drug-type and fiber-type cannabis split apart roughly 12,000 years ago, thousands of years before any burned residue we've actually found, which means the real starting point is still buried somewhere we haven't dug yet. Let's zoom out further. Psychopharmacologist Ronald Siegel argued that the drive to alter consciousness functions almost like a fourth biological drive, sitting right alongside hunger, thirst, and sex. And it isn't just humans. Animals seek out fermented fruit and mind-altering plants too. So maybe the urge that led someone to breathe in that first cloud of cannabis smoke wasn't weakness. It was the same curiosity that built fire, built tools, built entire civilizations. Notice cause and effect. Repeat whatever worked. For most of history, cannabis wasn't a party favor. Chinese medical traditions used it to treat pain and inflammation. In the steppe, it was sacred, reserved for grief and connection to the dead. That reverence didn't survive contact with the modern world. By the 20th century, the same plant that once carried mourners through funerals had become a political weapon, criminalized, demonized, and eventually commercialized into something almost unrecognizable. A mourner burning cannabis on hot stones and a lawmaker signing a prohibition bill worked with the same plant. They had almost nothing else in common. So go back to that stone hut in the mountains, the smoke curling up off the stones, someone breathing it in for the very first time with no idea what it would become. That instinct never left us. You're still chasing the exact same feeling.